What up, y'all? My name is Miss Wise.
And my name is Jacob Winterstein.
And this is the 4th season of the Pigeon Presents the Philadelphia Poetry Slam one-on-one street slam.
And it's a very special National Poetry Slam edition. We're out here in Oakland, California, and it's Philly versus the rest of the U.S. We got Mary Kay from Loser Slam in New Jersey.
And we have Candace Riggs here representing the Philly Pigeon.
It's going to be an excellent slam. Let us know in the comments who you think won. Let's watch.
I don't know if you would have married him. Something may have gotten in the way. Something simple, something cliche. Maybe one day he'd climb into the bottom of a beer can, fall asleep. Trying to hoist Rip Van Winkle from the shade, you tie a prusik around his rib cage. Reel his intestines in like a garden hose. Maybe he'd find comfort in the skinned knees of a mermaid. Begin to stutter through your name. We are an impatient generation. We don't like to wait. It just isn't provocative to die of old age. So when it came to the newspaper article, I imagine the editor drooled over your photos together. How tragic it is to look that happy. There was no drunk driver. No one was texting. A semi didn't drop part of its cargo on the highway. It was just an accident. It was a lot like love. The best kind is always an accident. Always without repercussion. And they say in death that life passes before your eyes. But I like to think that before your car grounded like a meteor, instead you were given the life you would have had. The roses and church bells, the cake and champagne, the marriage, the mortgage, the pregnant. Are you insane? The pushing and breathing. He's crying because he's teething. I go to this park for the swing sets. I'm keeping this job for the benefits, the fighting, the makeup sex. Yes, because for a moment, you are perfect. Flying straight out of the abyss, closer neither to the sun nor the surface, like Snow White waiting for your kiss. And you look to your left, and there he was, with a chest like a kitchen cabinet, bracing the helm like Sunday prayer. I hope you spent that eternal minute wrapped in your chapel. Two lovers, like a field of Ferris wheels, redefining kaleidoscope. Because when you imagined your eternity together, you saw rocking chairs on front porches. You imagined holding each other's hand until your skin was loose and cold, out of habit, out of balance, because those old hinges don't work like they used to. You imagined more time. You imagined more Notebook, less Romeo and Juliet, while the rest of us were left to rationalize, because bad happenstance was insulting. We wanted a humble priest reading your vows in front of family and friends. We wanted someone telling revealing stories about your college days. Heaven was an unexpected place for your honeymoon. But I like to think at least you got your eternity together. I like to believe at least you got that.
I was old enough to remember my dad casting a fishing pole and holding on to it while I did too, hoping my 5-year-old arms were strong enough to catch a fish so big it would make the local paper. My curiosity wondered how a boardwalk city could float on stilts, but I had no idea why we couldn't afford McDonald's on the pier when prices in town were cheaper. Seven Presidents Park was my favorite swing set, but I didn't know those historical figures once called my hometown a summer vacation. I was too young to understand that tourism is expensive, which is why we only went after hours. But I remember my first summer break from school starting with an explosion that locals still call an insurance claim. We stood so close I could feel the flame. Hotter than the June sun, we watched as the pier buckled at the knees and debris fell into a saltwater graveyard. We watched as a decade of full moons drowned the city with the tide. I wasn't old enough to visit the haunted house before ghosts moved into vacant buildings. I didn't know what a crack epidemic was or why it lived in our now abandoned water park, but I understood enough to know that the beach wasn't safe anymore. When I was old enough to seek the truth, I dared myself to investigate, but still not wise enough to know what a syringe was or why they were washing ashore. Man, I had pockets full of quarters, and the arcade was the only place in town where kids could still be kids. But the beach is the first place that taught me how to fight, how to run, how to trust the strength of my adolescent muscles. I wasn't old enough to vote yet, but wise enough to know that politics had an agenda. Crime was an excuse to use greed as motive, and eminent domain was the bulldozer. Money tightened its fists around waterfront property where generations of homeowners couldn't afford to fight back. I was smart enough to know that our home wasn't built on desired land, but filled enough cardboard boxes to know that strong arms aren't nearly as powerful as deep pockets. It's expensive to live in the land of the free. Tourism comes at a price, but syringes are still washing up on beaches. Fantasy lands are built on top of old graveyards where nothing but a highway separates boarded up windows from vacation homes. And I dare you to cross that highway, to boost the economy on the side of town your mother still warns you about, to get your hair cut at the only business that still flashes an open sign amongst the haunted buildings that have more history than you have money. I fucking dare you to live in this city for longer than just a summer vacation.
Alright, y'all heard these two incredible poems. Let us know who you thought won underneath the comments. Candace representing the Philly Pigeon, or
Mary Kay representing Loser Slam in New Jersey. And whenever you're in Philadelphia or the surrounding areas, come check out the live show. More information at thephillypigeon.com. Peace.